Hello everybody, welcome to my session all about the Permanent Mini Jamboree. I'm going to give it a few minutes just so everyone can get into the room. I can see the number growing already. Welcome, you're in the right place, and just give us a few moments. You can already post perhaps in the chat what your name is, where you're from, would be really interesting to see. And you can find some information already from Mika in the chat that will help you with the session. I think we'll just give it 1 or 2 minutes to see that everyone can get in, get logged in, find the right link, and then we'll get started. Hi, Maria and Marcos from Brazil. Nice that you can join us. Hey, Matt from the UK. Peter from the Netherlands, I can see. Just 1 more minute. And the session's going to be recorded as well. So anyone watching back later who's not live, then great to have you joining us as well. If you haven't already and you'd like to post where you're from, that would be great to see. We know over 100 countries have been taking part in the KISC JOTI so far. Hey, from Poland, that's cool that you're here. Got some people there from the Netherlands and the Philippines. That's great that you can join us for this session all about the Permanent Mini Jamboree. Okay, then I think we'll get started. So, welcome to the Permanent Mini Jamboree. My name is Jack. I'm the director here at the centre. And today, over the next 30 minutes or so, we have some opportunity for you to share where you're from, to learn a bit about KISC, and to take part in a quiz to see how much you've learned about KISC as well. So this is all about bringing the World Scout Centre to you, into your homes, through Jamboree on the internet. Every year, many scouts come to Candlestick, to Switzerland, to take part in the Permanent Mini Jamboree. But today we're online and across this whole week, engaging in total with 100,000 scouts who have joined to learn all about the World Scout Centre and KISC. So let's start off with a bit of a history session about this centre, about KISC. And you'll need to know these things for the quiz later, so make sure to pay good attention. So this is some pictures here of Baden Powell's dream. The centre started back in 1923, and Baden Powell had just held the first World Scout Jamboree. If you know where that was, you can post in the comments. So they'd held the World Scout Jamboree in 1920, and he said, that was incredible. We need to make something like this happen all the time. So he came up with this idea of a place where scouts and guides could meet all year round, not just every 4 years, and that they could come together to take part in scouting activities. And that's what you can see there in those pictures. That's the modern day KISC. But let's go back in time a bit first. So that, of course, the famous Baden Powell himself, taken here at KISC. And that's the chalet, in fact, the building that I'm sat in right now, back when it first opened 100 years ago. And the building was standing completely on its own. And it was built because there was a big train tunnel going through the mountain. And this was where the people could live that were working on the train tunnel. Nowadays, that train tunnel still runs right next to the center. It's still running 100 years later. And that's what the chalet looked like. And this was one of the first flag breaks taking part in front of the center when it was all green fields and trees. And we have these historic photos, which is really cool. This is a picture from inside one of the rooms in the chalet. If you've ever been and stayed in the chalet, maybe you can post in the chat and tell us something about your experience. This is one of the old rooms in the chalet, a dormitory room where scouts could stay, and you can see their bunk beds there on the right where they would have been sleeping. And this is some of the old activities that they used to do here at the center, up on the glaciers. We still run these kind of activities every year, but the safety equipment is a bit different now compared to the goggles you can see this guy wearing, or the shorts and t-shirts that they're wearing. And another activity that they used to do is over these huge rivers where they would build rope bridges, make their own harnesses. This activity we don't do anymore. Maybe you can imagine why, but we still have many activities up in the mountains. And this is what the chalet looks like nowadays. So that same chalet I showed you back at the beginning, that's how it looks like in color, with all the flags hanging outside. And behind the blue part there, you can even see there's a second building which has been added, which is now called the new chalet. So the old chalet is the part you can see right there on the left of the screen, and behind the blue is the new chalet. Again, post in the chat if you've been to KISC. Tell us about when you came. Did you stay indoors or did you camp? Maybe what was your favorite activity that you did? Then this is a bit more what KISC looks like today. So here's some scouts in their different uniforms doing a ceremony at the front of the center and taking part in some scouting activities. You can see, I think, do you know which uniforms they are? I think there we have an Australian one, someone from Czech Republic, someone from Sweden. Okay, going on. So first quiz question for you. In a minute, we're going to move on to Kahoot, but I've got one question for you. I haven't told you which country KISC, Kansas International Scout Center, is in. So if you think you know, go ahead and post in the chat. See who can work that one out first. I'll give you a minute. Ah, someone's got it there. So KISC is in the heart of the Swiss Alps in Switzerland. So there's the world map. You can see right in the middle of Europe, the middle of the Alps, the Swiss mountains. That's where KISC is. And you even have the coordinates there, so you can track us down. Okay, next up, I thought we'd go on to our quiz. So it's a Kahoot quiz. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but if you go to this website, to kahoot.it, and then we're going to put up the link that you need to put in, or a QR code. If I stop sharing my screen. Here we go. So if you go to kahoot.it, and you can either scan this QR code that you can see, or put in that PIN 4705495. And then you can make a name, choose a picture, and we've got a few fun questions for you to see who knows the most. So far we've got Hannah, Jarvis, Peter, Susanna, Miles, and Ram. Some cool pictures. Let's see, we've got a few more people, I think, logging on. If you want to take part in the quiz, we'll give you 30 more seconds to get logged in. If you're having any problems, you can message in the chat or in the Q&A. Okay, we've got 9 people. So let's get started because you can log in later even once we're started. So you'll see the question coming up and from your device, you can pick the answer. Let's go. Question number 1. This is an easy one. Which country is KISC in? Who's the fastest? You get extra points for being fast. There's a picture to give you a clue in case you're not sure. Oh, good. Everyone got that one right. That was the easy one, but let's see who got it the fastest. So in top points, Miles, just 1 point behind Jarvis, and all of you got it right, so you'll all be close on the scoreboard. So next question. How many scouts do you think visit KISC every year? 1,000, 10,000, 14,000, or 20,000? So the correct answer was about 14,000 scouts coming to KISC every single year. As I said earlier, 100,000 scouts are engaging, taking part in JOTI. So there's more scouts taking part today than in maybe 8 or 9 years worth of guest visiting centre. So let's see who did the best there. All Miles is still on top. Ram and Matt coming up. And Jarvis and Peter on the scoreboard as well. Next question. Who came up with the idea of a permanent mini jamboree? Gotta go quick. Oh, I'm pleased to see everyone was paying attention. Well done, everyone's got it right. Baden Powell's dream. Let's see. Oh, Ram's got the highest answer streak. Okay, they get a little harder. In which year was KISC founded? You remember from the beginning. One more person to answer. Yeah, we're celebrating 100 years right now. So it's 1923 was when KISC was founded. Well done to 9 out of 10 of you who got that one. Peter and Pepper moved on to the scoreboard. Well done. Miles is out there in the lead. True or false? Every year, more than 100 volunteers run the centre. More than 100. There's some pictures of some of our Pinkies in the pandemic. So it is true. In the middle of summer, we have 100 all at one time, but across a whole year, nearly 200 volunteers in total come and run Baden Powell's dream, the World Scout Centre. So let's see who's doing well there. Oh, a new leader. Ram is up on top, followed by Matt and then Pepper. Okay, carrying on. About halfway through the quiz. So here you can choose more than one. To be a volunteer at KISC, which is true? You must be a scout or guide. You must speak German. You must be older than 18, or you must be able to climb mountains. You can pick more than one answer. To be a Pinkie or a volunteer at KISC. Yeah, so the 2 ones that you have to be a scout or a guide, you must be older than 18, and I'll tell you more about that coming up soon. You new people coming up, well done Miles and Hannah. So how many directors of KISC have there been in total? I'm the current director, but before me, how many directors in total? See, the correct answer is 11. 11 directors running the centre with nearly 6,000 volunteers across the whole 100 years. Well done if you got that right. A few more questions. What other names is KISC known by? You can select more than one. So, Permanent Mini Jamboree, World Scout Centre, Internationales Verbindungszentrum KISC, best place in the world. And those pictures, there are all the pictos in the centenary. So it is all of them. The one in yellow is the German name of the Scout Centre, and the one in green is my personal opinion. Well done if you got all of those. Maria and Vic, well done, coming up onto the scoreboard. Pepper's leading at the moment with 4 more questions to go. Another multi-select. Name an activity that you can do in KISC. We've got ski, climb, paraglide, and campfires. And a picture there from the mountains where we are. So you can do all of these things. You all got climbing, almost everyone got campfire. Paragliding, where you go with your parachute and sail off across the mountains in the air, is another activity you can do. Nice, let's see who's got that. Pepper still leading, Peter pretty high. 5 players, got 7 in a row. What does KISC stand for? Pay attention here. And the picture there in front of you is the famous campfire. Now, some of you got caught out. Well done if you got KISC International Scout Centre. Miles in the lead. True or false? The village of KISC has 1,200 inhabitants and people who live there. Yeah, that's true. It's just a small mountain village, and KISC can have 2,000 scouts here. So KISC, the Scout Centre, can be much bigger than the village itself. All Rams in the lead, and only how many more questions to go? There are 13 questions in total. On to the next one. 2 more questions. How many scouts and guides have ever visited KISC? In the whole 100 years, how many scouts and guides do you think have visited? Yeah, it is 1 million. 1 million scouts or guides have had the chance to come to KISC, travel to Switzerland, and come and take part in the Permanent Mini Jamboree. Okay, so let's see who's in the lead. Ram, and this is the last question, so last chance to overtake. Maria, Vic, Hannah, you've got a good chance. Let's see. Which currency do we use in Switzerland? Is it the euro, pound, dollar, or the franc? And that's one of the walks there in that photo that you can do in the mountains around KISC. Around the famous lake called Schinnensee. And let's see who got it right. Oh, most people, it is the franc, the Swiss franc, not the euro. So let's see who were our winners. In 3rd place, Peter, congratulations. Well done. 2nd place, Maria Vic. And leading, we have Ram. Well done, good job. Thank you for all taking part. Okay, so if we go back to my presentation that I was sharing with you, Next up, I'd like to talk a bit about being a Pinkie. So Pinkie is what we call the volunteers at KISC. And here you can see some of our volunteers and the different jobs that they get up to when they're volunteering to run the centre. Typically, the Pinkies come for about 3 months, completely as volunteers, and here you can see some of our volunteers from spring who are doing some work, sanding down some of the woodwork, power washing the buildings, and enjoying themselves out in the mountains. The Pinkies, as they're known, have been wearing pink since 1989. It used to change every year, but then in 1989, they got to the pink colour and decided they loved it so much that they decided to keep the pink colour. And ever since, just like you can see in my pink, we've been wearing pinks. So to be a Pinkie, if you've ever been a Pinkie, you can post in the chat. Or if you'd like to be a Pinkie, you can tell us. But to be a Pinkie, there are some key things. You can come as a short-term staff for 3 months, and it's all about helping out the centre in all different areas, from cooking to cleaning, running activities, to leading the campfires, to doing maintenance, like you saw, to using the power washers and serving the scouts and guest guides that come. Then we have long-term staff. They come from between 4 to 12 months, and they work in a specific area of the centre. So it could be in charge of the reception and the phones and the emails, could be in charge of the campsite or the kitchen. Then we have the senior leadership team who come for 3 years, and they're in charge of the long-term plan of the centre, and they're the managers of all of the staff, making sure everyone has a good experience. So here are a few more photos of some of the team enjoying themselves in front of the chalet, doing some scout games and getting to know their team. We normally have every year Pinkies coming from about 60 different countries. So at any time, there's always a really international atmosphere here at KISC. So to become a Pinkie, you need to be registered with WASM or WAGS as a scout or a guide. You need to be 18 years or older, and you need to be able to communicate in English. Doesn't have to be perfect English, but you need to be able to communicate a little bit. And that's the 3 main things. So to apply, you go to the KISC website, and it will ask you to write a 1-page letter telling us all about you, about your scouting background, about what skills you have, why you want to be a volunteer. And we also ask you to upload your CV, explaining what studies you did, what scouting you did, what background you have, so that we can learn about you. Next, we need to see a proof from your National Scout organisation that you're a member. So you need to get in contact with them asking for a letter that you can send to us that says that you're representing your scouting, as well as sending us a copy of your passport. You do this all through the website. You'll also need to send us a medical certificate if we select you. You'll be able to download the medical certificate, and it has some simple questions just to make sure that you can work safely in the mountains doing physical activities. If you have any questions, you can check out the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, on the KISC website. The website is www.kisc.ch. Then you should also put a great picture of yourself up so we can get to meet you and get to know you. Finally, we asked for a video, a short 2-minute video, which is just seen by the selection team, explaining a little bit about who you are, your background, and why you're excited to come to KISC. Should be in English, and then if you'd like to, you can also attach a reference letter, maybe from a scout leader, from a teacher, or from one of your jobs, explaining a little bit why you'd be so good to come and volunteer in KISC. And that's it. If you get selected, you'll get to be one of these guys, enjoying life in the mountains. Could be in spring, when it's all about getting ready for summer, cutting the grass, the snow's just gone. Could be in the summer, having thousands of scouts and guides doing activities. Maybe in the autumn, when we have lots of work parties, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. Or in the winter, like right now when we're running skiing and igloo building, snowshoeing, and ice skating activities. Maybe this could be you, serving barbecue to thousands of people in fancy dress costumes, meeting friends from around the world. And here's an example from one of our Pinkies who says why it was so good for her, because she'd been given opportunities that she wouldn't have got in other life, doing all kinds of cool things. So if you're interested in being a Pinkie, as I said, you can go to our website, www.kisc.ch, which is posted in the chat, and have a look at the opportunities. So now I thought I'd share a couple of videos with you, and they're some videos that show a little bit of the centre. So I'll explain them, and just give it a minute so you can see this up on the screen. I'll start playing, but if it's not working for you, you can post in the chat. So this is in the new chalet, and what you can see here are the staff boards. So every season has to make a staff board. It's their first challenge or their first task. And together they make their board and they put all the photos of the team on it. So here you can see some old ones going back 30 or 40 years. And every team has a different theme they come up with. Sometimes you can move them or play with them. And we have volunteers coming back 20 years later that still come and see all of their photos on these boards. So why don't you post which one you think is the coolest? Is it the Swiss cheese, the cow, penknife? Or if you can see someone you know, maybe a scout from your area, from your country, maybe you can see you in one of these, or me. Here you can see some of the older ones when the team was much smaller, maybe just 10 volunteers at a time. A Star Wars themed one. That must have been when Star Wars came out in 1999. Some of them have beautiful paintings, some drawings. And now we go into the new chalet. So here we have 9 bedrooms where guests can stay. You can see it's a bit snowy. Again, some that are like puzzles. Some old ones here where they had to print out the pictures. 1994, summer staff team. Did someone see Floor? Is that what they're posting? Here in spring. A world map. Some skis. And in a minute, this one is from when I was a short-term staff in summer 2010. A record book. And even a pink t-shirt. So there you go. That's something you can look out for. When you come to KISC, you can have a look and see all the staff boards and look through the corridors to see which people you might know. So at the moment, this season, we have a birthday cake for KISC, a 100-year birthday cake. So if you're visiting at any point soon, you might see that one up in the chalet. All right, and there we've made it all the way to the top of the new chalet, where we have some of the more recent boards. Next up, I'd like to show you in the staff room. You can get a behind-the-scenes tour of what it looks like for the staff. So we have this really cool room, and this is the bedrooms on the left and the right, where the staff can come and have some free time, and we have our meetings in here in the morning. This is the pigeonholes where everyone keeps their post. Here we have some games and some books that anyone can come and play. And there's lots of sofas. There's hammocks. There's a swing hanging up there in the roof. Even a nice fireplace. So when it's cold, you can come and make a fire. And people have left souvenirs and flags from their time when they've been a Pinkie. Here we have the DVD corner. Some things for climbing, so you can practice your climbing skills. And some of the different pictures and games and souvenirs that people have left behind when they were staff. Do you see anything from your country there? Now in this corner, we've got photos from the staff taking part in a cross-country race. And we do this every winter. And you can see every year they take a picture dressed up in fancy dress, doing their races. And here out of the window to see what it's like out there today. See the train going. And this is where every morning we have our meeting, or even a nice picture of Baden Powell. Get the day started. Here you'll see one of the staff bedrooms and what that looks like. So we've got 4 of these bedrooms, 3 beds in each. You can't see there, but a nice view out of the mountains, even sometimes some sheep over the door. And finally, I thought I'd show you the laundry, another behind-the-scenes tour of a staff area. If you come and be a volunteer, we spend lots of time in the laundry getting all of the bedding ready for our guests. Here you can see some photos from the staff when they've been working in the laundry in their season. And we have 350 beds. So you can imagine when everyone checks out or checks in, it's a lot of bedding to be getting ready and getting cleaned in time for the next guest. Here you can see the nicely folded bedding and the more messy bedding. And then we also have all of the staff uniforms, so they can come and get fresh pink t-shirts and jumpers ready to go to work. And we have these humongous washing machines and tumble dryers where we can wash loads and loads of things all at the same time. You can see it's lots of fun in the laundry when we have a group of people together. Here you can see there's lots of laundry that still needs doing. Sounds like some of the machines are running. You can see some of the flags in the countries. See people having fun there, getting the cleaning done, getting the laundry done into these massive machines. And here on the left is where the laundry comes down. People put it down the chute, down a hole, and it pops out down at the bottom, ready for us to wash. I'm not sure what these two are doing with their funny costumes. So if you come to KISC, you can book a chalet tour as a guest, and you get to see the laundry. Pinkie will take you around and show you behind the scenes so you can get an imagination of what it's like to run the World Scout Centre. Nice. Well, I hope that was interesting for you to see a little bit behind the centre. Let's carry on. For about 10 more minutes, I'll talk to you some other ways you can get involved. So one is that we have work parties that come to KISC, and work parties from all of these countries come, and they come for 1 week with about 10 or 15 people, and they help out in the grounds, getting the campsite ready. They do lots of cleaning, but they also get half of the week working and half of the week off. So they also get to enjoy staying in the mountain huts, having some activities with the staff, going swimming in the lake. And to come with a work party, you can look on the KISC website and see, does your country already have a work party? Or maybe you could set one up and come and volunteer with us for a week and get to stay for free and enjoy helping out the centre. Another way you could get involved is by being a member. So KISC has about 700 members. Members are people or scout groups or NSOs that support the centre. There are many different ways to become a member. You can become an individual member or a life member. And you can see here where most of our members are coming from. So most members come from the European Scout region, a few from the Asia Pacific region and the Inter-America region, and just a couple from the African or the Arab region, and actually no members, sadly, yet from the Eurasia Scout region. So members donate their 25 francs or their 50 francs per year to support the centre, and they get to come to special events like this year in May for the centenary. They get to decide the big decisions of the centre, like the 10-year, 20-year decisions. They get to be my boss, which is a good job as well. And you get a free stay every year at the centre. Also in our shop, we have a special KISC shop you can go to where you can buy special member things like member neckers, member t-shirts and pins. And just by taking part in this Joti event, you can also buy the KISC Joti badge, a special badge that we'll post to you to show that you've taken part in KISC Joti. Or, of course, you can come as a guest. Just like these two, come and be a scout or a guide, wear your necker and your uniform proudly, and come and meet all the other scouts and guides in Canisteg. So where might you stay if you come? Well, you could stay in the tower. That's the picture up on the top left. Or maybe you'd like to come and camp. You can see some tents there. Perhaps you'd stay in the Candle Lodge on the bottom left. That's our newest building where the King of Sweden stayed when he came here 10 years ago. Or the bottom right is the pictures of the old chalet. Do you remember at the beginning, I showed you the old photos of the dormitory rooms? Well, this is what they look like now. And maybe you'd like to take part in some fun activities. So here, some modern day activities compared to the ones I showed you at the beginning. You can do some activities on the glacier, some whitewater rafting, or maybe some zip wires through the trees. Why don't you post in the chat if you'd like to do one of these? What would be your favorite? Maybe you'd like to do some scootering through the mountains, or take part in a campfire, or go on one of the cable cars up through the mountains and get to experience being up hiking and traveling high over the lakes and get you up into those mountains. So finally, Elias, you like to take part in the campfire and hiking. That campfire, I think, is the most incredible experience in all of Scouting. 1,000 people coming together. You can see all the uniforms and you get to do your own song or skit in your own language. You can take part in some of these. If you come every week in summer, we do a campfire with 1,000 people. So to bring everything to the end and to the finish, you have earned one of the badges from KISC JOTI. So you can go ahead and follow that link. And I think the wonderful Nika, who's been helping out, is going to post it into the chat so that you can earn your badge. I hope that you've been enjoying taking part in JOTI. There are loads more workshops happening today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So do sign up, or you can watch them back live afterwards. There's all the badges that you can earn no matter what time of day going through until Sunday. So do get onto the KISC JOTI website and start earning your badges. There's 100 activities you can take part in. There's chat going on, so you can take part as well. But let's do some questions. So if you have any questions for me, you can put them in the Q&A. So we have a question: is the Swiss visa process easy if you want to become a volunteer? So if you want to become a short-term staff volunteer, it's quite easy. There's no cost to you, and it's almost guaranteed that you'd get the visa if you need a visa as a short-term staff. If you're coming from Europe, it's not generally too difficult anyway, but from outside of Europe, we would help you with that. If you come as a long-term staff, it's a little bit more complicated. And on the website, it explains everything. So you can have a look on the website and it tells you about different roles and different countries. If you come for a longer 1-year stay and you don't have an EU or EFTA passport, then we'd need to apply for a visa, which is possible but can be a bit more difficult. If you have any questions, you can directly get in touch with us through our email, which you find on the website as well. There's another question there about where are you based? Well, KISC is in Kandersteg in Switzerland, in case you missed that at the beginning. Me, I'm originally from the UK, but I live in Kandersteg now as the director to run the centre. So you've got 1 more minute in case you have any final questions for me. I'll stop the presentation so you can see me a bit more clearly. I'd like to say a huge thank you to those who were interpreting the session and helping out run the session. I hope if you were listening in another language, you were able to enjoy and to take part. Thank you for joining in the quiz as well. And please share your experience of KISC JOTI on your own channels to let other people know that they can join in. It's been a pleasure spending this centenary 100 years of KISC with you. Thank you very much and hope to see you in Kandersteg as a guest, a volunteer, a member or a work party soon. Thank you.